For most of my life, I was suffering from brain fog. I remember when I was in my first year of university, I would go to the school restaurant with my friends and I would eat what they gave to us. And the dish seemed kinda healthy. It was rice and some vegetables, maybe some meat if we were lucky. But somehow, after eating this, I would just go to class, and even if it was interesting to me, I would basically fall asleep. I would like, I would, my brain would turn off for some reason, and I didn't know what was happening to me. I was basically thinking that my natural digestion was working like this, so I couldn't avoid it at all. But then I started researching diets and healthy eating. And this is when I first discovered the carb crash. Carb crash is like when you eat sugars and a lot of carbs. They get absorbed into your through your intestine walls into your bloodstream just like everything else. But the problem is high blood sugar is bad for you. It makes your blood vessels literally break down. So your pancreas, like this organ next to your stomach, is there to control your blood sugar levels. When it sees that you have a high blood sugar, it starts to produce insulin. Insulin is like this hormone. Hormone is like a messenger molecule. Like, you know, your body has two primary ways of communication inside of your body. It's your nervous system, it's the fast way, and there is endocrinal way. It's like using your bloodstream and molecules to tell your other organs what to do. So your pancreas uses a hormone which is called insulin to tell your liver to take out the sugar from your bloodstream and store it as a glycogen. Glycogen is like this form of sugar which allows you to use it later. But the problem is when you eat too much sugar and it's absorbed too fast through your intestine wall, which is a notable case of processed foods like processed rice and pasta. All these things, they actually get absorbed way too fast for you to function normally. When the pancreas sees that there's too much sugar right away in your bloodstream, it starts to produce a lot of insulin. It tries to save it at all cost. So this insulin gets too much sugar stored, and you actually have now your blood sugar is actually too low for you to function, and your brain needs sugar to function. So when your blood sugar suddenly drops from the spike in insulin, you basically become incapable of functioning in a normal way. And this is what causes your brain to go into this like sleep mode where you just turn off and unable to work. And this is what was happening to me every time I was eating. And then I learned about the low carb diets. I learned about the different kinds of carbs, like there's unprocessed rice, whole wheat pasta, and I tried different configurations. And eating unprocessed rice really helped me reduce my carb crash, but it didn't remove it. I still had this rest and digest phase for like 3 hours after eating a meal, so I wouldn't be able to work in the best way possible. I could still work, but I would just feel bad. It would literally make me kind of suffer. So the next step I took was actually to go onto a low carb diet. Ketogenic diet is a very popular one. It's like basically reducing your energy intake from carbs to down to like 5%. So you get most of your energy through fats and protein. So basically I tried reducing the carbs and I just removed the grains and I kept on eating other things that I used to eat, and it made a drastic difference. Like for the first time in my life, I could eat a meal and then I could work right away and I didn't have any problems with my concentration. So basically what you should try to do is to remove grains from your food. You can keep some fruit, not very high carb fruit like bananas and apples, but you could eat low carb fruits like grapefruit. Pomegranates are really excellent. They are a little high in sugar, but they are very good for your health. They're like this secret testosterone fruit that you could eat to break the neck of some other guy who is your competition. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, of course, but you get the idea. It's really nutritious. Eat pomegranates. I know they're a pain in the ass to open, but once you get used to it, they're really OP. So I would eat fruit like this, and I would also reduce the vegetables that were high carb, like potatoes and sweet potatoes. Although I really like them and they're very nutritious, they're still high starch, so high carb vegetables. So I would basically keep like cauliflower and broccoli for my main vegetable intake. I would eat a lot of meat. I would like double down on my meat and egg consumption, and don't worry about the cholesterol and all the fat and saturated fat. People are afraid of saturated fat for some reason. They think that vegetable oils are good for you. This is bullshit. Eat more meat, eat more eggs. You're gonna feel so much better just basically by adding more eggs and adding more meat into your diet. Just don't like. The problem with red meat is that people usually like cook it on a grill, so they would burn it basically to charcoal crust, and the charcoal crust is basically a cancerogen. So I would really recommend you to cook them somewhere in some other way. But when you're cooking chicken, there is basically no problem. There's no charcoal. You cannot like have charcoal chicken. I cannot imagine this. Increase your meat intake. Next, fat. Eat more olive oil and butter, basically the two kind of fats that are good for you. Extra virgin olive oil, unprocessed butter is good for you too, but try to balance them out so you don't get like 90% saturated fat. Just make them like 50-50, it's good enough for you. Next, eat nuts and honey, which are really good. Honey is kind of a sugar thing, but it's so nutritious that you just add some of it, a little amount, to your nuts. Like walnuts are the best, almonds are very nutritious too. Raw peanuts are actually really good, but I don't like the taste, so I don't buy them. I just buy walnuts and almonds usually, and I add some honey into them, and I eat them with pomegranate. This is my dessert. This is what makes me so OP. Like my brain is literally capable of like twice the the computing power of a normal person after eating my lunch. So I would highly recommend you doing this. And don't worry, for the first couple of days on low carb, you may feel like your first meal without carbs is gonna feel like you didn't eat at all. Even if your stomach is full of meat and fats and low carb vegetables, you will still feel hungry because your body is not ready to. Your ghrelin, like this hunger hormone release, is actually calibrated on your carb intake. So when it sees that you don't have enough blood sugar, it still tells you, oh bro, you're hungry, you're hungry. Your monkey brain is like, you're hungry, bro, you didn't eat carbs. Just don't listen to it. The first 3 days may be hard. Like in the first 2 days, you're gonna feel great because you still have the glycogen reserves in your liver. Then on the third day, you're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna have low energy. Your legs may tremble a little. Your legs may literally tremble a little bit. But don't be scared, because on day 5, you will start to recover, and you will go into the ketosis where your body starts to actually use fats to produce energy, and you will see all the difference towards day like 7, 1 week into this. It may be different for different people, but 1 week into a low carb diet, you will start to see the real results, and you'll have a lot more energy. Like you will be, this is literally broken. And most people either don't know this or are unwilling to cut out all the carbs, because basically all the processed foods contain carbs nowadays, even like the worst kind of carbs, which is basically added sugars. But if you just try this, you will never want to come out of this. Like I planned to restart bulking with carbs after some time, but now I just don't feel like going back because it felt so much worse relative to what I have now. So this is my basic advice. Try a low carb diet. There's a lot of guidelines on low carbs. I basically told you what I eat. You can try to your things, but mine are basically eggs, chicken thighs, sometimes fish, and vegetables and fruits and nuts of your choice.